Hi, TQ agents. I'm really excited today. I'm joined by Krista from Trafalgar, and we're going to talk a little bit about Europe and Britain launch for 2019. Krista, thank you for joining me today. I'm excited.
Well, thank you. Thank you. So I will just get going here. Welcome, everybody. As you know, and I just want to remind you guys that I actually represent 3 brands: Trafalgar, Brendan Vacations, which is all Ireland and Scotland, and then Cost Saver. Today I'm going to concentrate on Trafalgar. I'm going to touch a little bit on Cost Saver. Basically, the agenda, I'm going to share some trends that we have found out in travel, some marketing updates, and then our new agent incentive program, which we're pretty excited about. Trafalgar actually spent a lot of money to get some information from consumers, and these are just a general travel consumer. These aren't necessarily Trafalgar travelers or Cost Saver travelers. So they did a huge survey, and this is what they kind of found out was trending in travel for 2018. This one might kind of surprise you, but the trend was travel has lost its appeal. So what does that mean? Why were people saying that? 89% of the people were saying that travel has become difficult to plan. And I'm sure that's how you get a lot of your customers. There's so much information out there that it can be really overwhelming, and so they come to you. And then also 61% of the people feel travel can be overcrowded. And I have to tell you, I just got back from Italy, and there are a lot of people out there traveling this planet. And then it's become overwhelming, people are saying. There's 47% of the people said they feel guilty when they don't see a certain amount of sites, you know, so you've got this checklist and you got to see everything. And then the other 49% said that they feel these experiences that they're doing are not really unique. So they're looking for something else. So, and then travel has also become this database that we surveyed said that 53% of the people feel pressure in needing to upload. So whether you're uploading photos, checking social media, staying on top of emails, people are still really feeling connected, and they kind of look like this. What has travel become? Everybody's just a little exhausted. Are we sure we want to do this? So how do we define good travel? What is good travel? And these are what some of the folks were saying. One is it's stepping away from the daily life and pressures. You know, when you think about yourself on vacation, you just, you know, you kind of kick back and you have a few cocktails at lunch and at dinner and maybe even at breakfast. Number 2 is learning and appreciating something new. And then also people wanted to be surprised and challenged. And then also they defined good travel as spending time with loved ones. This is just the general statistics that we found. People, of course, say happiness is more important than success. That's 83%. Being well is more important than being wealthy. Having those experiences is 74% more important than having the products. That's what 74% of the people said. So how do you do all this? And really, one thing that everybody agreed on is when you travel, 91% of the people said that it gives you a chance to have a different perspective. So we know good travel exists, and how do we do this? How do we make sure that you're giving your travelers a good experience? And at Trafalgar, we really believe it's time to start traveling differently. And one of the ways we do this is by making travel easy for your customers. Do you remember back when you were a little kid and, you know, your parents planned the vacation? You didn't have to worry about a thing. I know when I was a kid, we rolled around the back of the station wagon and off we did, and we didn't have to worry anything. We had a great time. Those details were taken care of. And then also the real connections. I truly believe traveling today, people want to have local connections. And Trafalgar, I think, does that better than anybody else. And we do these real connections, and we do things off the beaten path through 8 different styles of travel that we call them: connecting with locals, diving into culture, different family experiences, staying with stories, the different hidden gems that our traveler directors do, the icons. Of course, you want to see all the special things, the local specialists. Those are the folks we bring in from that town. And then also are making a difference, which is our foundation. So the Be My Guest experience, this is a phenomenal thing that Trafalgar does, and this is where you have a chance to meet a local family. The picture right here is it's a villa. It's called Villa Elecchio. It's actually in the Chianti region. I was fortunate enough to be there last week, and I had a chance to meet this family. Giada is the woman that is sitting there, and she is a chef. Her family is from this villa that we went to. 9 generations actually lived there, and the actual home was built. The original building was built in the 1200s. We took a picture after our Be My Guest experience. That's me, of course, and then our travel director on the far left. But this truly is a working family. She does all the cooking. She actually showed us around her house, her villa, and then and the smells were amazing. It was so cool. And then she cooked the meal for us, and then her family served it, and they cleaned it up. It was a labor of love. And then we also had another Be My Guest. This is in the family, I should say, is also that itinerary. You can find that Be My Guest experience on our Italian Discoveries. The Rome and Tuscan Highlights itinerary has Chef Labario, and he's on the left there. That was another great experience that we had. This is a Be My Guest that we do in Croatia, visiting another family. And these are the things that people talk about and remember because the experience is so unique and it's off the beaten path. Another experience that we have at Trafalgar that we get in with locals and make things real is through our family experiences. And I love to say that Trafalgar does a phenomenal job ages 5 to 95. This is a new itinerary that we rolled out this year, Shamrocks and Leprechauns. And essentially, it's, you're traveling with other families so the parents can have fun and the kids can have fun. And I believe what they're doing here is looking for some leprechauns along the way. We also like to include hotels that have a story and a really good background. This is the Schloss Leprechauns house in Austria, and this was actually used in The Sound of Music. So the Von Trapp family stayed there before the war. So there's a lot of history there, and we have this on a couple of our itineraries. This is another Stay with Stories hotel that we use in Belfast. This is my group from April. The water you see in the background, that is the sea that goes out to the ocean, and that is the actual route that the Titanic took. But this hotel that we stayed at, the Staying with Stories Hotel, is called the Culloden. It was built in the 15th century as a Pope's palace. Today it is a beautiful spa and resort. It also has offices there. So if you are a Van Morrison fan, Van Morrison has an office there. We also like to include some hidden gems in our itineraries, and this is another way to get our travelers off the beaten path. This is something that the Trafalgar Travel Director saves. So it's not necessarily written on the itinerary. And when I was in Venice last week, our travel director, Rosella, took us up to, it was actually in an old Turkish shopping area. She took us to the top of that area, and we were able to see all throughout Venice. So it's an amazing experience. Of course, when you're traveling on our itineraries, we're going to make sure you see the icons. So if you're going to Greece, you're going to see the Acropolis. But we're also going to include local specialists, and those are people that are from that area. So on the right there is our local specialist from the Vatican last week when I was in Rome. I love that picture of her because she's Italian. Her name is Donatella, and she's using her hand. But she actually took us into the Vatican museums, and she took us in there early before all the crowds got in there. And we actually walked through later. You could barely move through the museum. So, but she's just very passionate about it. She's very knowledgeable about it. She's actually been a local host for 29 years. On the left is a local host that we had on the northern coast of Ireland, the Giant's Causeway, and he is called a Shanachie. A Shanachie is somebody who tells great stories, and it's actually a profession in Ireland. And he told us a wonderful story about how the northern coast of Ireland was formed by a big giant named Finn McCool. But these are folks who are very passionate about what they do, and they're very knowledgeable about their area. So lastly, just, the fun. People have a great time when they take a Trafalgar vacation, and I believe that's why they come back. We have a review site. It's unedited, uncensored. People literally go on there saying exactly what they think of our trips. Believe it or not, I just did an event last evening, one of our trips that's called Italy Bellissimo. It was rated one of the best trips out there, and there was several people. This woman had just gotten back from it. She said there were several people on that itinerary. The reason they chose that group is because it had some of the best ratings out there. So Just something to keep in mind. On page 31, too, of our new Europe and Britain brochure, we laid out our new discounts. In the past, if you're familiar with Trafalgar and the discounts, we always had 3 discounts: a 10% that ended the beginning of January, a 7.5%, and a 5%. We've now decided to just limit the discount to 1 discount of 10%, and that ends the end of January. So it should help create a sense of urgency and also help you guys get bookings sooner, and that will also help fill up all the departures. We also had a past guest discount program, and we've now changed it to called the Very Important Traveler Program, and we're going to be doing targeted discounts for those past guests. So they will receive emails. These emails will be specific discounts, sending the clients back to you, the agent, whoever booked them. So ultimately the goal is to bring more bookings to you. So that's basically kind of summing up the good life, the Trafalgar bookings in just a quick summary. So another thing that we found out when we did this survey is there's a lot of people talking about overtourism, because there are so many people out there traveling the planet. And like I said, you could just see the herds of people moving around the Vatican. These are some stats that are going by rather quick, but it just kind of like in Iceland, Hungary, there's 5 tourists for every resident. So there is a lot of people moving around the planet. So what are we doing at Trafalgar to kind of mitigate this? And if you think about it, some people are like, well, isn't tourism a good thing? But there is some financial shortfalls with this. The financial shortfalls is, you've got somebody goes into an area, for example, a big cruise ship, and they get to that area, and they're there for 2 hours, and they might just buy an ice cream. So it's hard on the shopkeepers, because they've got to open shop, close shop, and have somebody there to manage them. Also, people are not very impressed anymore. They can literally Photoshop themselves in front of the Eiffel Tower, and then the local residents are affected with all these people moving around. So how do we overcome this? And at Trafalgar, we actually are calling it 3 Ds: direct action, dispersal, and dissemination of overtourism. One way we're doing that is 11% of our itineraries have at least one make a difference experience. And this is what we're calling Join Trafalgar. You don't actually have to join Trafalgar. It'll just be on one of the itineraries that you may put your client on. This is actually Marta in Perugia, Italy. She does Italian handloom weaving. This was absolutely amazing. I thought I put a picture of myself in there. I saw her last week. I got a chance to meet her. She is the only one doing this anymore. And it was absolutely amazing. She talked about the history of her family. It goes back several generations, and how she does all these different weavings through these old ancient handlooms. It's truly amazing. And the art was essentially dying with her until the Trafalgar found her, and now her niece is getting into it, and she's able to continue on with her art. So 63% of our itineraries, of course, have a World Heritage site that we stop at. And we also include those local specialists like I was talking about, and we also have volunteer opportunities. So if you do have somebody interested, we call it Me to We. So just from a dispersal aspect of it, we're trying to spread this tourism year-round. So we do have some great itineraries for autumn, winter, spring. It is a great time for your travelers to go. So if somebody is interested in traveling November, December, January, February, March, there isn't all the crowds. Also, we over 97% of our itineraries are off the major tourist path. So the handloom weaving with Marta, you actually it's definitely not in the major tourist path. It's in a little town called Perugia, so very interesting. So just destinations and trends for 2019. Spain and Portugal is still very hot. We added a new itinerary this year, Treasures of Spain and Portugal. So check that out in our new 2019 brochure. Central Europe is also very popular. This year, I'm very excited. We added Best of Croatia and Slovenia. We've had so many requests for, those parts of the world, Croatia and Slovenia only. So we've added that itinerary along with a Best of Poland. We've added extra capacity in France because of the 75th anniversary of D-Day coming up next year. We also have new itineraries in the U.S., so Cape Cod Delights. Just wanted to touch on that because this itinerary, if you have somebody who's interested in going to the Northeast, we actually spend a night on Martha's Vineyard, which is really pretty cool. Our national parks itinerary, very popular. This new 5 epic national parks where you hit the big 5 parks, it was created for the American market, so you actually just have to take 1 week off of work. You start the weekend before and you end the weekend afterwards. We also have, new this year, we've got a great land Alaska called Majestic Alaska, but now we added in Alaska and the Yukon, and you can do an optional cruise afterwards on Holland America. So if you've got somebody who wants to cruise but also see Central Alaska, we've got a couple of options for them. And then we also rolled out Africa this year, which is very exciting. The Tolman family who started Trafalgar is actually from South Africa, so they've wanted Trafalgar in their, they wanted Trafalgar to offer Africa, and what they did is, in Tolman fashion, is purchase Thompson Tours. So they purchased Thompson Tours, and we actually have 8 itinerary or in 8 countries in Africa. Just keep in mind that our Africa product is, there's one itinerary that's very standard Trafalgar with, you have anywhere from the 25 to 45 guests on a coach. But the rest of the itineraries in Africa are anywhere from 4 to 14 people, simply because you are going on safari and you just cannot have big coaches going across the Serengeti. Wanted to mention real quick too is Asia. People are looking to travel in Asia. In our product, we added Cost Saver Asia. We have Cost Saver in Europe and Britain, as well as the U.S. and Canada. Just keep in mind that Cost Saver is another product for you to sell. It's something else to have in your toolkit. You will always start out with Trafalgar as your lead brand because, of course, you're going to make more money. But please keep in mind that Cost Saver is a great option for your travelers. I actually did our Italian Lakes Cost Saver itinerary the end of August, beginning of September. And the itinerary was different from the Trafalgar itinerary. So if you've got somebody not certain that they want to take that Trafalgar itinerary, check Cost Saver. The hotels, yes, we say they're 3-star, 3.5-star hotels, and Trafalgar are 4 and 5, but this just means that your hotel is a little bit farther out. So it's still a very nice hotel. It's still very comparable to a 4 or 5-star hotel that might be in the city. It's just farther out. But you have a lot of free time with these itineraries with Cost Saver. In fact, if you've got people interested in doing an FIT, some of the folks that were on this itinerary, they said we could have never gotten from point A to point B, stayed at these nice hotels on our own at such a good cost. So the pricing with this is dynamic. It's a great way to travel. So we also have just some new things that I want to share from an agent perspective. Our website, we spent a lot of time updating it the past couple of years. Now we've got a Trafalgar site, and we're going to be rolling out just a Cost Saver site soon. We also have, of course, we're doing all electronic documents. The point of this, though, is not for you to print out documents. If your clients want documents, ask for regular documents, and we will send them to you. But we are partnering with a company called One Tree Planted, so for every document that is not printed, we are actually planting a tree in Northern California and in Tanzania. And this is the most exciting thing, so it's kind of saving the best thing for last. We have a couple of things going on. Join our Trafalgar Tribe on Facebook. You'll get information. Every time you book a Trafalgar Brendan Vacations trip, you get cash to be used. But our new Acclaim program, we just rolled this out, and you actually, every time you book Trafalgar, you have a chance to earn points and eventually a big trip. So we have 3 different levels that we're rolling out, and it just came out this week. There's a club access where if you book 6 guests, you'll become part of the access level. Club ambassador level, you will have 20 guests, and then club acclaim, you will actually have 40 guests, and you need to have one online booking and book on 4 continents, and then we will be having a grand prize, so please check for that. There's different webinars that we'll be having with that, different conferences, so all kinds of information on our Agents in Action, and you'll find that information on our Trafalgar.com/agent site. We also, I'm running from the national meeting we have today and tomorrow for our incentives. So if you book anybody on Trafalgar for 2019, you're going to get a $25 gift card. And if you still have travelers looking to travel this year, I will give you a $50 gift card. So with that, I thank you for your time. If you have any questions, please let me know, and thank you so much.